Hello everyone, this is Logical. Would bring you guys FPS Weekly number 12 today for the 28th of August 2015. You might be wondering why you're not seeing my beautiful mug right now and instead of going straight into the Deus Ex Mankind Divided trailer, but the reason for that is that I have my SD card reader that I use to get video off my camera has just decided to crap out, so I have no way of getting video footage from my camera onto my computer. So just audio recording in the background for me talking about these things. So the things I'm going to be talking about, it really has just been slow in FPS stuff, in first person stuff in general for the last 2 weeks, because as it stands right now we only have 4 stories to talk about, which is Deus Ex Mankind Divided will have a New Game Plus mode, Duke Nukem is apparently completely belonging to Gearbox, and then Soma systems requirements have been released, so fantastic. And then there's FNAF 4, the box, apparently. You see, last week I was going to do a video, but just the only 2 stories that there were was Deus Ex Mankind Divided and Duke Nukem. And doing just 2 stories isn't really enough to make a video. And this week's like, hopefully there's more stuff available, and then not really, with only another 2 stories, for a total of 4. So very slow week, very slow 2 weeks. So we're just gonna make this super fast, and you know, just get rid of stuff. So in the meantime, while this Deus Ex Mankind Divided trailer's been playing in the background, apparently it has a New Game Plus mode. And for those of you that are unaware what a New Game Plus mode is, New Game Plus is basically you finish the game, and then you can start a New Game Plus, which lets you keep all of your abilities, any weapons you have, skills, stuff of that nature, unused skill points, whatever. It's a fairly old concept. It's been around from the earliest of my knowledge. It started off with the challenge mode in Ratchet and Clank 13 years ago. I think that's the first game that comes to mind that had some sort of new game mode that lets you retain all of your previous stuff that you'd earned in your last playthrough. So that's cool. And now the next thing we're going to talk about is that Duke Nukem apparently belongs entirely to Gearbox now. You see, Gearbox and, let's see, was it 3D Realms? Yeah, those guys, apparently they've had like this super just convoluted thing going for the last 4 years since Duke Nukem Forever came out. That apparently it was like they couldn't decide who owned it and what the rights to it were and who held what and such. So now 3D Realms is just like kind of caved on it, and they're just like, we just don't care anymore. Duke Nukem just now belongs to Gearbox. We look forward to seeing what they do with it. Essentially, that was their spiel with it, that they're going through, and they're just like, we don't care about this anymore. We're just doing our own thing right now, which honestly makes a lot of sense. It's something that they're probably not going to do. They probably wouldn't have done another Duke Nukem game had they kept the rights to it. And in all honesty, makes sense that they just gave the entirety of it up to Gearbox. So, yay. Now for the news about Soma. Soma, apparently the pre-orders have started, and the game comes out September 22nd on Steam and GOG, I want to say. Good Old Games, I think that's right, but I am not entirely certain. It could just be Steam, I think. But regardless, it comes out on September 22nd. You can pre-order it now if you so desire. But the important thing about this is that the system requirements have been released, and I should have put them up on the screen right here in a what's called legacy text, something that you do in Sony Vegas Pro. And you can see what they are for yourself. I'm not going to talk about them because frankly it's just like they are. Just look at them. They're not very demanding, not very hardcore requirements, so pretty much any computer made within like the last 5 years that was meant for gaming purposes should be able to play it. So yay! Now for the last thing that we're going to be talking about is FNAF 4. Now, Five Nights at Freddy's 4 was a game that people were going through, and they finished it, and they were somewhat confused by the ending, and they didn't really seem to think that the story tied up everything collectively, and then somehow, for some people, when they finished the 7th night, there was this mysterious box, right? Well, the mysterious box, it turns out, actually can be opened, even though no one in the month, basically month that the game has been out, has managed to open the box. So, that's fascinating. Apparently, according to Scott Cawthon. Ah, such a hard name to say. Really is. Just cannot speak, apparently. He has said that there are several pieces to pick up throughout the game to enable you to open the box. And the box, what's inside it, will like completely tie up and wrap up the whole storyline of the franchise, and hopefully cohesively tie everything together into one final gift-wrapped presentation. That's my take on it. So, that's all the stories for FPS Weekly this week. It's just been extremely slow the last couple of weeks. Hopefully there will be more new stories next week that are intriguing and interesting and things that I can actually talk about. Otherwise it'll just continue to be these short videos that perhaps are not as enjoyable as people would like, because they're shorter and don't have as much information. Besides me rambling on like a moron, talking about certain things that don't really need to be talked about. But that's how things go. Am I right? So we're going to finish this episode off, and I will tell you guys that I will see you in the next video next week, which will be, let me take a look at my calendar here. That will be the 4th of September, 2015. Just moving right along throughout the year. This is Logical, and I'll see you guys in the next one.